I'm Caleb. I'm actually just a very normal person, just like any one of you today. But I would like to share with you now in this session is that how a normal person can actually prevent cancer through your diet. Okay, so I'm the dietitian, Caleb. So for the next 40 minutes or so, I will be presenting to you on some overviews of cancer very quickly. Then I'll move on to the general guidelines in preventing cancer. Next, I will move on to the multi-steps of cancer development. Then next, we will delve into different challenges that you might need to overcome when you're planning a diet that helps you to fight against cancer. Then lastly, we will discuss in detail on some different diet advantages that have been proven in some studies that can help to fight against cancer. Okay, so let's take some time to appreciate the death of normal cells before we move on to how do cancer cells occur in the body. So I will just go through very quickly. Actually, in all the cells in our body, right, we have these different signals to control how much and how often the cell divides. Okay, but however, when there's so when the time is up, for example, like red blood cell, they can live up to 90 to 120 days. So when the time is up, the signal will be activated, and the signal will induce a programmed cell death. We call it the process as apoptosis. But what happens in cancer is that then there's activation of cancer gene, or we call oncogenes. When there's activation, and the activated cancer genes will lead to an abnormal cell or mutated cell or zombie cell. They will keep on dividing in an uncontrolled way. So actually, day in and day out, this process will occur in the body. So it really depends on how your body system and how your diet and your lifestyle neutralize this or kill or detect this mutated cell timely and destroy them. So, but when things gone out of control, this is where the mutated cell will start growing into a growth and can be categorized as benign tumor or malignant tumor. So especially in the advanced stage of cancer, in malignant tumor, they will start invading or spreading into other parts of the body, the process we call metastasis. So again, I go through quickly on the different causes of cancer. There are total on these slides, I will present to you 7 factors that we can control, and the other 3 factors are the factors that we can't control or we can't really do something about it. Okay, so let's start with the modifiable risk factor, the things that we can control and we can change. First will be tobacco use. Secondly, unhealthy diet. Next will be sedentary lifestyle and overweight, followed by alcohol abuse, viral infection, like what Dr. Luke has mentioned earlier, is that the human papilloma virus, which can be vaccinated, is one of the many causes of cancer of the penis, anus, vagina, and so on. Next will be hormonal imbalance. For example, in female, if one of the breakdown of estrogen by name of 16-alpha hydroxyestrone, we call it subtype number 16 of this estrogen metabolite. If it's too high in the female body, this subtype of estrogen will actually trigger DNA mutation in hormone-sensitive organs, for example, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and so on. While in males, one of the causes of prostate cancer can be imbalance of one of the breakdown of testosterone by name of dihydroxytestosterone, or simply put DHT. If DHT is too high in the male body, it can trigger DNA mutation in the prostate cell. Next, okay, there goes the modifiable risk factors, the factors that we can actually manage. Next, you move on to the factors that we can't control. First is family history. Next will be sun and other radiation. Lastly will be environmental pollutants. But bear in mind that no matter what kind of chronic diseases, including like cancer, diabetes, high cholesterol, or hypertension, the modifiable risk factors will play a more prominent role comparing to the non-modifiable risk factors. Because if we can really manage the modifiable risk factors, we can actually prevent probably 60% of the occurrence of chronic diseases, including cancer. So all these causes of cancer will actually lead to DNA mutation. Like what I mentioned earlier, day in and day out, some of the cells will get mutated, the DNA will get mutated. So it depends on our system and also our diet and lifestyle. How do we neutralize or how do we kill the mutated cell timely before they have time to develop into tumor or cancer? Okay, so now I will go through a very simple activity with you guys, is that we need to identify the carcinogens. Carcinogens means the substances that have the cancer-causing potential in the body. So first, This is a representation of moldy grains. Do you think moldy grains will cause cancer? Yes, okay. What about salted fish? Okay. Next, what about charred meat or barbecued meat? Will it cause cancer? Okay. Okay, what about processed meat like bacon, bak kwa, lap cheong, Chinese sausages, and so on? Okay, yes. Okay, tobacco smoke, yes, definitely. Alcohol abuse, excessive drinking, yes. What about red meat? Okay, so most of you think red meat will cause cancer. What about hot beverages? No? Okay, well, some yes, some no. Lastly, French fries, carbohydrate that undergone high temperature cooking methods. Yes, okay, let's go through. First one, moldy grains that contains a group of toxin that's produced by fungus or molds, and the group of toxins is by name of mycotoxins. Mycotoxins will include the aflatoxin, acrotoxin A, and so on. So this group of toxins, right, may be the few causes of liver cancer or kidney cancer. So yes, it has the carcinogens. Salted fish, yes, because especially the Chinese style, when we salt the fish and we steam it, so this one will cause more carcinogens in the salted fish. Especially one of the chemicals by name of N-nitrosyl compounds is a carcinogen that will cause nasopharyngeal cancer. Next, charred meat or barbecued meat, yes, it contains like heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon, PAH. How does it occur is that when we, especially the fatty or the oily meat, right, when we grill or when we do barbecue, the fats or the juice will drip on the heating medium underneath. For example, if it's charcoal, so it will get vaporized and the vapor will stick onto the meat and the vapor will turn into the carcinogens, which are the PAH and also the heterocyclic amines. Next will be processed meat that contains a lot of chemicals, including nitrates, nitrites, or also the N-nitrosyl compound, not forgetting the saturated fats. So together, yes, they may cause cancer, especially cancer of the colon. Tobacco smoke, yes. Tobacco smoke itself contains around 7,000 of chemicals. Out of the 7,000 chemicals, 70 has identified to have cancer-causing potential. Alcohol abuse, yes. Alcohol, scientifically, we call them ethanol. When we consume ethanol, ethanol will be metabolized into one of the toxic compounds by the name of acetaldehyde. This acetaldehyde is the cause of cancer when we are talking about alcohol. Red meat. Okay, red meat I will categorize in blue is because the risk of causing cancer is just a moderate risk. So in fact, for red meat, right, the recommended intake for red meat in preventing cancer is not too strict actually. You can take up to 4 to 5 servings of red meat per week. So one serving will be like one of your palm size without the finger part, and the thickness will be like the thickness of my hand. Okay, so you can take 4 to 5 servings, and instead of taking red meat, replace with white meat, fish, or plant protein. Okay, so because studies have shown that for those that eat a lot of red meat, right, probably they will displace the nutritious food ingredients, for example, vegetables, fruits, and also the lean meat. So owing to this reason, control your red meat intake, but replace with something healthier. Hot beverages, no, it is not a cause of cancer, but I need to mention earlier, if you can remember, Dr. Luke and also Dr. Jandana just now, they did mention that when a person drinks alcohol and smoking, both of them will cause synergistic disadvantage or risk to the body in terms of cancer. So the third thing that I want to add into that two relationship is actually hot beverages. So there are some studies showing that those that drink and smoke, and when they drink hot drinks, yes, they will have a more increased risk of getting cancer. But for those who do not smoking and not drinking at all, hot beverages is not a practical or it's not a realistic cause of cancer because studies have shown that in animal studies, of course, to have a hot beverage to cause cancer, one person have to ingest 90 ml of fluid at the temperature of 80 degrees Celsius and above. So this temperature and with this volume, it will cause DNA mutation in the esophagus. So I would say that if we drink around 90 ml of 60 degrees Celsius of liquid, we already feel the burning. So I don't think anyone can drink 90 ml of 80 degrees Celsius liquid all at once. So if you can drink that temperature, yes, then you might have the risk of getting cancer, especially the esophagus. Otherwise, I don't see this as a realistic carcinogen. Lastly, carbohydrate that undergo high temperature and low moisture cooking methods. For example, like French fries, deep frying, or pastry. The skin of the pastry is carbohydrate, rich in carbohydrate, and undergo high temperature, low moisture cooking method. So this kind of cooking method will create a carcinogen by the name of acrylamide. And acrylamide is also a known cause of cancer, especially if you take in very high frequency and you take in a large amount together with unhealthy dietary practices. Okay, next. I'll just go through it quickly because a lot of doctors have already mentioned this. The top 10 cancers in Singapore. So we can see that if you can scan through the list here, actually a lot of the cancers can be prevented by healthy lifestyle and also diet. So that means that what you eat day in and day out will become a switch to either switch on your cancer risk or switch off your cancer risk. Okay, not to worry. Later on, I will empower you guys to practice what you can do later on in your dietary choices. Okay, so now I will explain to you on the multi-steps of cancer development. So at my screen here, I have a very cute-looking innocent cell. So this is actually a normal cell in the body. But when there's a trigger, for example, you have ingesting a lot of unhealthy food, carcinogens in your body, or simply because of the gene that you are carrying, for example, so all the carcinogens will serve as a trigger that trigger DNA mutation. So this normal cell will turn into a mutated cell. But as you can see from these slides, if you don't get rid of the trigger timely, remove them or neutralize them timely, this trigger will keep on triggering or encouraging the growth of the, I think you have to click that one. It's still a normal cell. Okay, so if you are not getting rid of this trigger, it will encourage the growth of this mutated cell, and they will start to grow into one kampong of mutated cell. And the mutated cells are very good. They will say, okay, I protect myself, I will screen myself from immune destruction. So this represents immune system destruction and also growth surveillance. Okay, our body will try to suppress the growth of tumor, but the cancer will have this protective mechanism. So at the same time, they will create fire in the body. So the fire will represent inflammation. It will cause inflammation in the body. And also at a certain stage of cancer, especially the malignant tumor, they will start to migrate to the other parts of the body by the means of the bloodstream. And when they migrate and invade another parts of the body, they will start to grow another kampong there. Okay? And at the same time, they will say, okay, I don't need any blood supply from the host. I will produce my own blood supply. And the process is called angiogenesis. So the tumor can produce their own blood supply to supply the nutrients that they need for growth. Quite scary, right? But not to worry, later on I will show you how our diet and nutrients can actually target different mechanisms of cancer development. And lastly, the cancer or the tumor will discharge a lot of rubbish and dump it into the system. The rubbish represent inflammatory cytokines. It's some signals that will cause, like especially in the advanced stage of cancer, this cytokine is the causes of loss of appetite, muscle wasting, or we call cancer cachexia. So we can see at one stage of cancer, the patient can be very thin, even though we are feeding them very high calories, but they just can't retain any weight. It's because of this inflammatory cytokines. And these inflammatory cytokines, together with the inflammation, will cause the problem like loss of appetite and so on in the cancer patient. Okay, so next, I will focus on one part of the multi-steps of cancer development is the migration or the metastasis of cancer cell. So on this screen here, so you see a very nasty looking mutated cell and you see some black patches on the surface. So pardon my editing skill, this is the best that I can do. So the black patches actually represent one of the molecules. We call it galactin-3 adhesion molecule. So this galactin-3 adhesion molecules, is very similar to the hook and loop concept. So inside our body, normal cells or cancerous cells will express this galactin-3 adhesion molecule to help them with growth, development, and so on. So, but the cancer cells, you also utilize the same thing. Oh, this one is too fast. Okay, so as you can see, our body will also produce this galactin-3 adhesion molecule. So if our body, for example, if there's damaging stimuli or there's chronic or repetitious inflammation happening in the body, our body will produce excessive amount of galactin-3 adhesion molecule. So what does this cancer cell do is that it will utilize the galactin-3 molecules that our cell produce, and will make them stickier. So when they are stickier, like Dr. Tan just mentioned earlier, in the bloodstream you have some circulating tube cancerous cells flowing in the body. So these cancerous cells, right, we utilize these galactin-3 molecules to stick onto or to group the other circulating cancerous cells in the bloodstream to make them into a small group. Okay. At the same time, the cancer cells use the same molecule to adhere itself on the inner surface lining of blood vessels, and when they adhere themselves on the galactin-3 molecules of our own body, it will penetrate the blood vessels and they will start growing or adhere to the nearby or the adjacent organ. So this is a detailed process of metastasis. Okay, so let's go through very quickly some very general guidelines that you can practice in preventing cancer. One is that you have to keep your weight within healthy body range and be physically active, like what Dr. Jandana mentioned earlier. Aim for 150 minutes of moderate physical activity a week. So it can be 5 days, 30 minutes each day, or you can exercise 3 days, 1 hour per session. Okay, why is it so? Because the fat tissue in the body, right, they are not dead tissue, they are living tissue, and they will produce hormones or growth factors, and they will increase one of the fat cell hormones by the name of leptin. This leptin will increase estrogen signaling. That's why obese or overweight ladies have a higher risk of getting breast cancer. It's because the leptin or the leptin that's produced by the adipose tissue or the fat tissue will increase estrogen signaling. Okay, so be physically active. Next is that instead of taking high-calorie foods and sugary drinks, and also limit red meat, avoid processed meat, and at the same time replace with more fruits and vegetables, whole grains, beans, and so on. Okay, so instead of taking red meat, processed meat, you can take fish or poultry and so on, or even plant protein. Next, for those who are not drinking at all, very good, continue to do so. But for those who drink, limit to not more than 2 drinks for men and 1 drink per day for ladies. So you can see different units of different alcoholic beverages here. And next, eat less salt and avoid moldy grains altogether. And next, whenever possible, obtain your nutrients from natural foods instead of processed food. And next will be for ladies, breastfeed your babies exclusively for 6 months, because this can prevent yourself as well as your baby to prevent against cancer and some other diseases later on in their lives. And lastly, for cancer survival, practice the aforementioned recommendation. Okay, so now let's go through some of the challenges that we might need to consider in terms of diet when you are planning a cancer prevention diet. So first is that we need to maximize our nutrient intake by taking a variety of nutrient-dense food. So instead of junk food, desserts, fried food, processed food, try to replace with different fruits and vegetables in variety of colors. So a healthy shopping bag should look something like this. So you can do your menu planning ahead, and when you go to the shopping mall or supermarket, you can try to buy fruits and vegetables of different colors and stock up your fridge readily with readily available healthy foods ingredient. And also when you cook and when you opt for your meals, remember to include more vegetables. Besides adding more colors, most importantly, they add more nutrients into your diet. Okay, for example, even fruits, you can make them into dessert like overnight oats or fruit popsicle and so on. Okay, next. But how much is enough? How much should we eat? We need at least 4 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables in a day. So what is one serving of vegetables? One serving of vegetables will be something like this. If it's cooked vegetables, it'll be like 1 handful. If it's raw vegetables, it will be 2 handful. Okay, one day we need at least 2 to 3 servings, but if you can eat a little bit more vegetables, that's even better. What about 1 serving of fruits? We need at least 2 servings of fruits per day. So if weight is not an issue to you, or you don't have blood sugar problem, and you want to eat more fruits, I don't see it as a problem, so you can eat more fruits. But however, if you are concerning about weight gain because of the sugar in fruits, or you are concerning about your blood sugar level, then you limit your fruits intake to not more than 2 servings per day. What is 1 serving of fruits? Yeah? Any fruit that come in this size, like apple, orange, pear, one fifth size is considered 1 serving. Larger fruits like guava or mango, half fruit is 1 serving. Small fruits like grapes, berries, 1 handful is 1 serving. And any fruits that can be cut into wedges like papaya, watermelon, 1 thin wedge is considered 1 serving. So try to aim for 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruits per day. So this is a different pictures or different combinations of fruits and vegetables in a day that you can take. Let's just focus in the middle one, for example. Yeah. So 3 servings will be from vegetables, like you have your salad, you have your cherry tomato and some celery sticks, and 2 servings will be coming from fruits like honeydew or cantaloupe, and also with your blueberries. So one day, include this 5 servings, spread it out throughout your day. Okay. Besides taking 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, try to aim for 5 colors as well. Okay, because different colors will give you different phytochemicals to fight against different diseases. Okay, so when you can try something like fruit kebab, or rainbow pizza, or as simple as a smoothie bowl topped with different fruits, and as simple as salad, or even like our Asian dishes, you simply add more vegetables in your cooking, or you opt for vegetables when you eat in the hawker center. Okay. Next, you can also practice healthy plate concept, in which you separate your plates into 3 parts. Half of your plate should be filled by vegetables, another quarter filled with whole grains, preferably whole grains, and another quarter will be filled by protein, lean protein, skinless poultry, for example, cooked in low-fat cooking methods. Then you can take a fruit as your dessert. So you take a fruit outside your plate. So one day, or most of the time, you should be eating something like this. I would say 80 to 90% of the time, you should be eating like this. The other 10%, yes, you can give yourself some cheat day or cheat meals. Okay? But most of the days, you should be eating like this. I would say that one day, 2 meals should look something like this. Yeah? Okay, so again, this is a distribution of the meal throughout a day. So you practice plate concept. Okay, for your lunch and dinner, you are already getting 4 servings of vegetables. So you take fruits as maybe breakfast, and also dinner. After dinner, you take a fruit as a dessert, you are taking 2 servings already. So with this meal plan, you can easily achieve 4 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruits. Okay, next challenge that I want to share with you is that we need to maximize our nutrient intake within our calorie allowance or requirement. So on the axis underneath, you see that the changes of age in years. So on this graph here, I will show you 2 line graphs. One is orange in color, represent the calorie requirement per kg body weight. And the blue line graph represent the nutrient requirement per kg body weight. Okay, so let's start with the calorie requirement per kg body weight first. Okay, so as we first born, we have, during infancy, our body will need more calories for growth and development. But during childhood, it will slowly reduce a little bit, but it quickly picks up again and reach its summit during adolescence. But after the age of 25, where aging starts, so after the age of 25, our energy requirement will reduce in time. So it will reduce slowly. So let's look at the pattern of nutrient requirement per kg body weight. Does it look the same? Does it have the same pattern with the energy requirement? Okay, so at the beginning stage, especially before adolescence or before 20s, the pattern is more or less similar. That means when we are younger, besides we need more energy, we also need more nutrients for growth and development. But you can see that there's a disparity. After the age of 25, instead of going down together with the energy requirement, our nutrient requirement increase in time. And why is it so? Okay, let's take a look. Why do we need more nutrients while we are needing lesser calorie requirement as we grow older? This is because first, there are some changes in our gut function. So let's start with the mouth part. So when we grow older, probably we have poorer dentition, and we have poor fitting denture, and this has affected us or even affected our preferences in our food that we take, because we can't really eat the things that we used to be able to eat. Another thing about the changes in gut function is your stomach acid. As you grow older, the stomach acidity will reduce. When the stomach acidity reduces, there will be impairment in a lot of nutrient absorption and also nutrient digestion. Next, we have reduced or smaller appetite. This is a normal scenario in aging. It's because that when we grow older, our body can't produce adequate hunger-inducing hormone. We call it ghrelin. So as you grow older, ghrelin level will reduce. So because of this, sometimes elderly don't feel hungry, and they forget about, they miss their meal and so on. It's because of the ghrelin has reduced. And also we have smaller appetite. Next, we have lesser metabolic rate. Why is it so? Because as we grow older, we lose our body mass, and at the same time, we gain more fats. So comparing with muscles, fats, they are considered metabolically less active. So muscles are metabolically more active. So when we lose muscles and gaining more fats, so this reduces our metabolism. And also, we are physically less active comparing to the younger days. Lastly, we start to have some medical conditions that require us to take medication, and the medication will impair nutrient absorption and also nutrient metabolism in the body. So owing to all these reasons, we ought to take a more stringent diet as we grow older. That means we have lesser room for junk food, processed food, and so on. We really need to appreciate or treasure the calorie requirements so that we can get hold of the nutrients that our body needs. Okay, next, to make things even more complicated, nowadays, there are a lot of factors that affect the nutrients level in the food that we take. I will just focus on two here. First is that pollution. Okay, soil overuse and depletion. This is because the soil can't really keep up with the exponential growth of human population. So because of this, the soil has been overused, and because of this, it has caused depletion in the nutrients in the soil, and also with global warming and so on. So there's a research I found in this Journal of Sustainable Agriculture, has shown that there are a lot of countries have shown nutrient deficiency even in the soil itself. For example, like Bangladesh, Indonesia, or even Japan, Korea, and Malaysia has reduced in the nutrient content in the soil. So when the soil is not nutritious, of course, the crops will be affected as well. So this is another study from American College of Nutrition, where they study on the changes in the USDA food composition data for the past 50 years. And they found out a lot of the crops that we eat today has reduced in the nutrient level comparing to 50 years ago. So it's quite sad to know. Next will be, cooking methods will also affect the nutrient level in our food. So for example, if you are getting very nutritious foods ingredient, but if you are cooking them in the wrong way, you're probably not getting the optimal nutrition that the food is able to offer. So if you take overly cooked or spoiled fruits and vegetables, of course the nutrient level will be much lesser than you're taking it at its peak season. So try to take fresh fruits and vegetables. When you eat vegetables, just cook them lightly. Don't have to overcook them so you can retain more nutrients. And this picture here, I will show you two ways of cooking broccoli. So on your left-hand side, you see boiling of broccoli, and on the other hand, you see steaming of broccoli. Which one you think will retain more nutrients? Which cooking method? Steaming. Okay, let's take a look at the factors that affect nutrient level. First, cooking duration. The longer the cooking duration, of course, there will be more nutrient loss. Surface area. If you cut your vegetables into small pieces, or you simply immersing your vegetables into a large medium of cooking, then when it has more surface exposed to the cooking medium, this will affect the nutrients level, as in more nutrients will be leached out from the vegetables. Okay, so lastly will be cooking temperature. Of course, when a higher cooking temperature, more nutrient loss will be happening. So owing to this reason, for these two cooking methods, I'm comparing the surface area. So your answer is correct. Steaming will retain more nutrients because there's lesser surface area exposed to the cooking medium. So in this case, it's the hot steam. Okay, so besides steaming, you can actually utilize cooking methods like sautéing, stir frying, blanching very quickly, or slow cooking, which can retain more nutrients. Okay, so plenty of times when I discuss about cancer, diet prevention for cancer, I will get questions like whether do I need to take organic food or not. Okay, so now I'll address this topic. So let's take a look at what is organic food. Organic food must meet some standards before being certified as organic food. So it's a very rigorous process. So in crops, there shouldn't be any trace of synthetic fertilizers, pesticide, no irradiation or genetic engineering. For organic animals, they have to have the access to the outdoors. Shouldn't be any trace of growth hormone, antibiotics, drugs. And lastly, even the feeds to the animals need to be organic. So there are some certain extent to reach this standard. So because of this, organic produce, they may have 30% lower risk of pesticide contamination, and they may contain higher levels of nutrients, maybe around 70% comparing to the non-organic stuff. And good news for environmental lover is that organic produce can be more sustainable. But however, because of the process in growing organic food, there will be more cost. So it can be 20 to 100% more expensive comparing to non-organic food, and they may be hard to find in certain areas. So do we need to take organic food? Okay, so we see from this association, environmental working groups has actually listed down the top 12 most contaminated fruits and vegetables in pesticide. So if you are taking anything from this list, maybe you can consider choosing organic, for example, strawberry, nectarines, and so on. But if you are not taking any organic food, that's perfectly fine. You can practice these few ways to reduce pesticide residue. First, you wash, rinse, soak, scrub, okay? And you throw off the outer leaf, especially the leafy vegetables, because that's where a lot of pesticide will be deposited there. And peel off the skin of the fruits. But however, if you're peeling off the skin, you're also peeling off a lot of fiber and also nutrients. And lastly, for animal produce, trim the fats, trim the skin, because most of the growth hormone and the antibiotics are fat soluble, so very likely they will be deposited in the fatty parts of the meat. Okay, however, I need to let you know that there's actually no conclusive scientific evidence stating that organic food can help to fight against cancer or healthier or better in taste. Okay, so the main thing is that you have to enjoy a variety of foods. Okay, don't just take strawberry every day. You alternate your choices, so the risk of getting pesticide contaminated or getting pesticide accumulated in your body will be much lesser. So you alternate your choices. And the very important primary goal is that no matter you are taking organic food or non-organic food, you have to take at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. Okay, so if you are taking organic food, but you're saying that organic food are very expensive, I eat little bit. So that's not a wise practice actually. So no matter you're taking organic food or non-organic food, reach your recommended fruits and vegetables intake. Okay, so before we go on to the advantages, different diet advantages that help you to fight against cancer, I will just go through very quickly to recap on the multi-steps of cancer development. So first, I have an innocent cell here exposing to carcinogen, got mutated, and the trigger is still there, encouraging the growth. It will start to protect them from immune system destruction and also growth surveillance. At the same time, they produce inflammation, and they start invading to other parts of the body. They start to grow there. Okay, so at the same time, they produce their own blood supply, angiogenesis, and they will discharge inflammatory cytokines, the rubbish, which will cause weight loss, loss of appetite, and so on. Okay, so in terms of nutrients or a nutritious diet, our nutritious diet can actually target these few parts. First and foremost, the diet that we take every day, if you are getting the correct ingredients, the healthy ingredients, it can help to boost the immune system of your body. So that means that your immune system will become more sensitive in capturing mutated cells before they have the time to grow into a group of mutated cells. At the same time, our diet and also nutrients can reduce the inflammation and also reduce the inflammatory cytokines that is produced by the cancer cells. And next, it can prevent them from spreading into other parts of the body. So it can prevent metastasis, it can cut down the blood supply, prevent angiogenesis, and lastly, very important, is that it can neutralize the carcinogens or neutralize the trigger that's causing DNA mutation in the body. So what about the migration of cancer? Okay, our body, our diet and also nutrients can target different parts. First is that our diet can actually modulate the production of galectin-3 adhesion molecule that's producing by our own body. So it can modulate so that it's just enough for the function of the normal cells. And also, there are some phytochemicals that will stick onto the surface, the galectin-3 molecules on the surface of cancer cells to make them non-sticky. So as in, they can't stick onto anywhere to migrate and so on. And lastly, same thing, it can modulate the production of galectin-3 molecules, especially in the inner lining of blood vessels, so can prevent them from sticking onto it and penetrate and so on. So let's say I have a picture here showing a cancer cells without the galectin-3 molecules. So it is non-sticky, so it's like wandering in the middle of the blood vessels, has nothing to adhere to. So these wandering cancer cells, right, can be easily captured and destroyed by white blood cell. So our white blood cell can kill them off timely. So the role of diet again, basically 3 pillars the diet can do. First is that immune support, provide more immune support to your body so your immune system can be stronger in detecting and killing mutated cells. Detox support. When we talk about detox, it's not just about detox your body and so on. Detox here means that it can neutralize the carcinogens that you're exposing to. For example, if you are taking satay, but when you take satay together with plenty of cucumbers and onions, probably the phytochemicals can neutralize, or in this case, detox the carcinogens in the satay, for example. And also, detox is that, especially when you are fighting against cancer or you're going through a treatment, so there will be a lot of dead cell in the body. So nutrients can help to remove the cell debris from your body so that your body can be cleaner. And lastly, it will be repair support. So especially when we kill off some cancers and we need new cells to grow, so a nutritious diet or nutrients can help to ensure that the new cell that's being grow will be healthy and will be of healthy DNA, healthy cells. Okay, so the very first diet adventure that I will present to you is beta-glucan. Okay, beta-glucan is actually a soluble fiber that can be found in some plants, sea vegetables or seaweed, and certain microalgae. For example, one of the species of microalgae by the name of euglena, or some mushrooms or oats and so on, they contain beta-glucan. So research has shown that there are some immune cells, right? There are some receptors that can be stimulated by beta-glucan. So if we eat food that contains beta-glucan will pass through the intestine, and the beta-glucan will sit on the receptor that can be activated by them on the surface of immune cell. So let's say when this beta-glucan got in touch with the receptor of an immune cell, the immune cell will become very sensitive, as in you can see from this picture, start calling for help, become very sensitive in capturing not just mutated cells, but also destroying viruses, bacteria, and so on, so it can prevent you from getting diseases. And also through the interaction of beta-glucan and the receptor of immune cell, it can stimulate their growth. So because of this, if you have adequate beta-glucan, it may help you to prevent cancer or fight against cancer. Next will be probiotics. Okay. Probiotics, simply put, is that microorganisms, when we are taking at an adequate amount, putting them at the right place, probiotics will confer human health benefits to the body. So probiotics, like what Dr. Luke had mentioned in the very much earlier of the talk, is that the probiotics, right, are not just about maintaining a healthy digestion. In fact, they play more versatile role in the body. Okay, so here again, this is the inner environment of our intestine. So you can see a lot of finger-like projection. They are the villus, we call. So the 4 nasty-looking creatures over there are the bad bacteria, or they can also represent mutated cell. So let's say if we are replenishing the probiotics in our gut daily, so the probiotics can help to ferment the fiber that we take, or we can also call the fiber as prebiotics. So when they ferment, you produce the short-chain fatty acid that Dr. Luke had mentioned, if you can remember, butyrate. This butyrate can help to kill off the bad bacteria in the gut. And at the same time, it functions very similar. The benefits will be very similar to beta-glucan, is that the probiotics in the gut, right, will also influence the growth of immune system. So in fact, a lot of the immune system is actually related to the gut, your healthy gut. So when we have healthy ecosystem of probiotics in our gut, it can help to stimulate the growth of immune cells, and through that, it can help us to prevent against cancer, as well as when they are outnumbered, the bad bacteria, it can prevent like food poisoning and so on. And also nowadays, there are more and more studies coming out stating that a healthy ecosystem of your gut, they play more roles in your body. For example, two groups of people, the people suffering with depression and a group of people have no depression. They found out they have very different ecosystem of the probiotics in the gut. As similarly, obese and non-obese, or even diabetes and non-diabetes, or even cancer or normal healthy human beings, they have a very totally different ecosystem of probiotics in the gut. So owing to this, there are more research leading to whether or not probiotics can really help to prevent against cancer or fight against cancer. Okay, so now you can start to include more probiotic food in your diet. For example, yogurt, kombucha, miso, natto, kimchi, and so on in your diet. So to replenish the gut bacteria, the good guys in your gut. Okay, next I will introduce to you Green Avenger. So Green Avenger, this is actually green catechin. Okay, catechin is a polyphenol that can be found in green tea. And a very famous catechin that can fight against cancer is this catechin by the name of epigallocatechin gallate, EGCG, can fight against cancer. So how does it work is that it can prevent the metastasis. It may help to cut down the blood supply, improving immune system, as well as reducing inflammation and also detox system, enhancing the detox system of the body. So how much should we drink in a day? You can aim for 5 to 6 glasses or 6 cups of green tea in a day. And besides that, besides drinking green tea, you can also use, like nowadays we have like matcha powder. You can add some matcha powder into your breakfast cereal or make into a dessert, or as simple as blending with yogurt to get hold of the nutrients of this EGCG. So EGCG, or green tea in that sense, has shown to fight against cancer of the stomach, colorectal, and so on. Especially a lot of studies has been done in Japan. So they found out why the Japanese have a relatively lesser risk of cancer. It's because of, probably because of the green tea that they drink. Okay, next will be curcumin. Curcumin is an active phytochemical that can be found in the root of turmeric. So it has very strong anti-inflammatory and strong antioxidative benefits to the body. However, turmeric itself has a very low bioavailability, or the curcumin, very low absorption in our body. So what you can do is that when you take curcumin, you can actually add some black pepper. The phytochemical in black pepper by the name of piperine can actually enhance the absorption of curcumin in the body. So that makes our curry a very healthy dish because of the different combination of herbs and spices. So you can try to add like turmeric powder in your vegetables or in your chicken and so on. And also probably you can also try to make this turmeric milk yourself. Turmeric milk, you can use like almond milk with some turmeric powder, black pepper, cinnamon, and you can sweeten with some maple syrup, and you can get hold of the different phytochemicals in this group of phytochemicals. Next will be cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables will include like cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprout, and so on. Why are they very famous, or there are studies being done like how they can fight against cancer? Is that they are very rich in a group of phytochemicals. But I will just highlight two. One will be indo-3-carbinol. Another one is isothiocyanate. So indo-3-carbinol, right, is actually a phytochemical that can influence the metabolism of estrogen. Remember that I mentioned earlier, estrogen, when it's broken down to a harmful metabolite by the name of 16-alpha hydroxyestrone, or we simply call the subtype number 16 of this estrogen metabolite. This estrogen metabolite will trigger DNA mutation in hormone-sensitive organs like breast, tissues, or ovary, and so on. So what will this indo-3-carbinol do is that it can direct the metabolism of estrogen so that the estrogen will be break down into the non-harmful metabolite. And also, it can optimize the body's detox system to neutralize environmental toxin. And not just for among females, males can also get hold of the benefits of cruciferous vegetables because the isothiocyanate, another phytochemicals, can downregulate the androgen receptors. So it may also help males to fight against prostate cancer. Okay, next will be Purple Avenger, resveratrol, that can be found in polyphenol that can be found in grapes, other plants like berries, peanuts, or even red wine. Especially, they can prevent DNA damage and it may help to protect several kinds of cancer. Okay, next will be a sunshine vitamin, vitamin D. Vitamin D is a very simple vitamin, but it can do wonders in the body. Okay, so what do I call it a sunshine vitamin? Is that our body can naturally produce vitamin D when we're exposed to the sunlight. Okay, but however, there are several factors that will affect vitamin D production of your skin. First will be age. Okay, as we grow older, the effectiveness of our skin production of vitamin D will reduce. Then, as also genes, there are certain recessive genes, right, that will impair the skin production of vitamin D. And research has shown that patients that have this recessive gene in the body, where they produce less vitamin D from the skin, they have a higher risk of colorectal cancer and also some other cancers because the body don't have enough vitamin D. And also skin pigmentation, the darker our skin, the less effective our skin can produce vitamin D, sun exposure, and in fact, to reach a blood level of vitamin D that can help you to fight against cancer, you need to stand outside the sunlight between 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for 20 minutes. Then you get adequate vitamin D on your skin. Okay? But bear in mind, like what Dr. Luke had mentioned earlier, that same intensity of UV ray is also the same intensity that will cause skin cancer, just to let you know. So, and also there are also other diseases and medication that will affect skin production of vitamin D. And nowadays, mostly we are indoors, and our diet is not very balanced. So because of this reason, research has also shown that 50% of children and adults worldwide has this vitamin D deficiency. But we need at least 1,000 to 3,000 IU of vitamin D per day to translate into a blood level of 30 to 50 nanogram per ml of vitamin D in our blood. Okay, so when you are taking adequate vitamin D from your diet, that level of vitamin D can only help you to prevent the softening of the bones. We call it rickets. But if you take vitamin D at a much higher dose, vitamin D will function as a hormone that can prevent you from cancers. Because studies has found out that throughout the body, there are a lot of cells that have this receptor that can be stimulated by vitamin D. So let's talk about normal cells, like immune cells. Immune cells, they are also having this receptor that can be activated by vitamin D. So when vitamin D activated this receptor, it can enhance the growth of immune cells. And also in cancer cells, they also have receptors that can be stimulated by vitamin D. But as opposite, when vitamin D sits on the receptor on the cancer cells, it can stimulate programmed cell death. And also vitamin D can reduce one of the inflammatory cytokines, IL-6. You can search it up. This IL-6, if it's too high in the body, it can lead to several cancer. Okay, so I just have time to cover a few diet advantages, but not means that when the food that I didn't cover doesn't mean that they don't have cancer fighting property. So bear in mind that as a conclusion, there's no certain food ingredients that can help you to fight against cancer. Okay, it's about a totality and your dietary pattern. So aim for a variety of fruits and vegetables in your diet, herbs, spices, or even legumes and beans, because they have all different phytochemicals to fight against cancer. So as a conclusion, remember your diet and a proper supplementation can build up these three pillars: immune support, detox support, repair support. Okay, so let's fix the puzzle together. How a dietary pattern can help you to fight against cancer. So this one will be a dietary pattern that you should be adhering to at least 80 to 90% of your time. So for example, Monday to Friday, for example. Okay, so what you can do is that you take plenty of fruits and vegetables in a variety of colors, and you can start to include some cruciferous vegetables in your diet. And use more herbs and spices, like for example, turmeric or black pepper, or even like garlic, onions, and so on, to get hold of the nutrients. And next, instead of processed meat and red meat, you replace with fatty fishes, white meat. And also, you take healthy oil instead of fried stuff. And next will be you can include some green tea in your diet, because there are some studies showing that green tea can help to fight against cancer. And lastly, not forgetting the little guys in your gut, the probiotics. Replenish daily the probiotics that are in your gut. Okay, so as a conclusion, what can we do amidst of all the limitations is that we choose natural whole foods. We stay active, work on your diet, aim for 5 servings or more of fruits and vegetables per day, variety of colors. Rest well and have a stress-free life, because when you are stressed, your body will undergo inflammation. Okay, so this will lead to several diseases as well, not to mention cancer. And do regular health screening, especially if you know that you have certain risks. Do regular health screening and do self-monitoring. Lastly, you might consider some of the evidence-based supplements that can fill in the nutrient gaps in your diet. Okay. So last thing that I would like to share with you all, your food is not just being your medicine, but they can be your diet avengers, okay? So what you can do is that when you leave this room, be your own dietitian or nutritionist, because this is the thing that you can do. The previous slides that the doctor shared, probably you can't really do much, but this is the thing that you can bring home with you. So do make healthy life choices.